Hey, RGVBA, this is Johnny Vasquez, and I am here with our very first podcast of the year, and I am graced by the presence of Mr. Scott Norman, the Texas Association of Homebuilders, or Builders for Texas, and we're excited to have him here today to ask him a few questions. We just finished up our monthly membership meeting, and we got a great update from Texas. There's a lot of good news, a lot of bad news, but Scott, let's start with some good news. Tell me, who is Scott Norman?
Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Appreciate being down here in the Valley. Always great to come down here. My name's Scott Norman. I'm the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the Texas Association of Builders. I've had this position for a number of years, worked for the state association since 2003, actually. And we are the State Home Builders Association. As you know, RGVBA is one of our 27 local home builders associations across the state. Just like y'all serve the needs here at the local level of our builders and associates, we are on the state level working with the Texas legislature and state agencies and deal with issues on the state level. And then the third level is the National Association of Home Builders in Washington, D.C. That handles our federal issues.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of action happening in Texas. Saw you at the Capitol for Rally Day.
That's right.
Where all of our home builders and members from across the state ascend or descend into Austin. And, we had some important issues coming up this year, and your team was there, gracious to accept us and show us around the Capitol. Tell us, what were the top things that happened this year in the legislative?
Yeah, well, Rally Day is always so great. And I urge our members, in 2 years when we're in the legislative session again in 2027 to make sure they come. We had almost 1,000 of our members from all over the state. We have about 10,000 members across the state. And so to get 10% of them at the Capitol, and one day during session, it's a real scene and it's impactful because the legislature, we have a citizen part-time legislature, and while a few of them are in our business or have worked around or know our business, most of them are not. Most of them come from their lives and their experiences and don't understand the issues affecting Texas housing industry. And so that is what we as an association are for, is to be that voice of housing, and we couldn't do it without our members coming to the Capitol. So I want to thank the members of the RGVBA who came to the Capitol and helped us get our agenda across the goal line. It was a good session.
Absolutely. It was refreshing to see the doors open. We had 7 legislative meetings that day, and we went up, down, left, and right. We covered the whole Capitol, and we saw home builders from all across Texas. It was an amazing time. So yes, I agree. We need to encourage members to go out 2027, join us for Rally Day. I know it's a year away, or maybe a little bit more than a year away.
A year and
a half away. But
y'all, I'll give a shout out. Y'all have a great legislative delegation down here, y'all senators and state reps, and they have always been supportive of our industry. And that's because of the relationships y'all have and maintain. And we're getting now into the political season. And so, we have to engage in those political things and make sure our friends get reelected and those sorts of things. But jumping back, I didn't mean to not answer your question directly. Our issues are always, next year is going to be the 80th year of the association. We can talk about that in a little while, but our issues always revolve around housing affordability and attainability. There's a lot of challenges that we can get into that the state's facing because of that, because of people moving here and the challenges of getting, houses on the ground that people can afford. But that was what our legislative agenda focused on. It's what it usually always focus on. And so we were working on issues regarding water and workforce and education, and interfacing with local governments, whether that be making sure that the regulation is balanced. We understand there is some level of regulation that's needed, but too much drives up the cost of housing, just like permitting fees and impact fees and those things. They need to be balanced. They cannot be something that is doing more harm than good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what you all are there for, to make sure that those specific little laws that come across the desks of certain people, that we put our eyes on those first. And we commend you guys. Thank you for keeping an eye out for the builders here in Texas. So 80 years, we're getting ready to celebrate 60 years.
That's right.
You all are big brother here. So
yeah, TAB.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 1946 was TAB's first year as a state association. So next year, 26 is going to be our 80th year. It's a big deal. We are a grassroots up organization, just like y'all's HBA. Our decisions are made by our board, which rises up from all of our 27 local home builders associations. It decides our legislative agenda. It decides our political activities and all of those sorts of things and everything in between. And so we can't do it without our locals. We just had a great membership luncheon here. Y'all were very well attended. It was good to see y'all having some new members here. And so, it takes all of us working together. It takes a village. It does. The locals, state, national, all pulling, trying to solve some of these challenges we have.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of benefits to join the Builders Association. One of them is actually TAB has an amazing amount of benefits. One of them is the contracts.
That's exactly
New
right.
contracts are out right now.
Just came out
Brand new. You can still smell the ink on them.
That's right.
So in addition to that, there's a tremendous amount of support from members from across the state for benefits such as rebates.
Right.
There's a lot of good things that you can get just on the state level and on the local level.
Well, we have multiple members across the state that get multiple 5-figure rebate checks back to them every year, which, would pay dues for 10, 20, 30 members. So they get their dues paid for tenfold by just going through the rebate program. There's rebates on vehicles that are available. There's the contracts you talk about. We have a deal called Small Member Growth Partners that is business coaching for our members that is provided as a member benefit. So there are all kinds of things, and these are all available on our website, texasbuilders.org. You can look these up, but all these are available to our members. And by joining the local associations, you're a member of state and national as well.
For sure. Yeah. I'm here again with Scott Norman with the Texas Association of Builders. And here we're just talking about the benefits, but what is the future for Texas? Where do you see 2027? Can you give us some sneak peeks on what are going to be the big battles going into 2027?
Well, I think, past is prologue. I think the same challenges that our association was facing 80 years ago, we're going to continue to face. It's a growing state, so we have infrastructure problems. Are we going to have enough water? Water all over the state, north, south, east, and west, everywhere in between is a real challenge. And we've gotten a lot done. We recently pushed hard during this legislative session on water fund for new water supply. That was a constitutional amendment that the voters approved a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be $20 billion over the next 20 years. That's exciting because we need water. It's the lifeblood, not only for industry and existing, but future as well. So water will continue to be an issue. Transportation will continue to be an issue. Workforce is a huge issue, and it was something we also got passed more funding for Texas State Technical College, and there was a constitutional amendment, went to the voters, and the voters, almost 70%, like 69 and change percent, voted to approve this fund, $850 million for more construction trades, training, including construction, all kinds of career and technical education, but construction being a big part of that. It's not all construction, obviously. So we've got to continue on the workforce issue.
Yeah.
And that'll be something going forward. We need to also make sure that the regulation balance I was talking about, whether it's impact fees or other fees that are being assessed, that cities really look closely at those and do everything they can, because we partner. I realize our members, our local HVAs, they're partnering with their elected officials. And you have some of those at y'all's meetings, and I know y'all are in consultation and visiting with them all the time. But we have to make sure that they remember that their decisions, while well-intentioned many times, they can drive up the cost of housing.
Absolutely.
And with inflation and shortages and labor shortages and everything else we have going on right now that are driving up prices, we don't need government also doing that. Yes. So we need, especially, our national association, Johnny, says that 25% of the cost of housing is due to the regulatory burden during the development and construction phase. Well, that's a nationwide number. It varies city by city, and I'm sure most of y'all cities down here, it's not near that high. But local decision makers need to think about that and think about ways that they can help.
Yeah, ultimately,
we've got 1,800 people a day, they say, the state demographer says, are still moving to Texas every single day.
Every day.
They all have to sleep somewhere at night. And so it's incumbent on our members to get those homes built. We've got to address that challenge.
Absolutely. You almost said the 4-letter word that some builders don't like, code. New code coming.
Yeah.
Some interesting things in the code. We won't dive into the details, but some of these builders, they just want to build.
They do. They want to know what they need to build.
They want to know what they need to build to.
Absolutely. And, there's been a kind of a push and tug. Historically, the building codes, which we are very supportive of, were about life safety and making sure our homes are safe. Lately, we've seen a bigger push to get into the energy codes and push some things that maybe aren't necessarily about, safety as much as trying to steer policy going forward. And so that's one of the things this is a year round, even in the years that the legislature's not in session, we engage on a state level is working with the decision makers to make sure that these code changes are balanced.
Right.
And that they aren't going too far one way and promoting certain products or driving unrealistic energy goals that may not fit with Texas.
Absolutely. No, there's perfectly well said. Lower and keep and maintain the price of housing to attract more people. 1,800 people a day, that seems small, but really you're talking every day.
Multiply that times 365. That's a big number.
365. Yeah, Texas is growing, and we're excited. With all the shortages of labor, we are investing in scholarships for local students. However, that's a short-term fix. You know, I know we discussed during the meeting some of the long-term fixes. National Association of Homebuilders is supporting the Dignity Act. I know as the state, there's very limited things that we can do locally and on the state side, and sometimes the blame is kind of shifted to us locally, but ultimately, this is a federal issue.
Yeah, immigration. I mean, these are federal laws that are being enforced, and ultimately it's going to be a federal decision on where this goes. But I do think there's a role for the state and locals to continue to voice their opinion on this and make sure that their congressmen and women and senators and all the representatives, both in Austin and in Washington, know our position and how it has real impacts on people's ability to have a home. You know, folks, whether they're down here in Hidalgo County or up in the Panhandle or Northeast Texas or wherever, people really just want a home for themselves and their family that they can afford and a place to come. As we get into the holidays, you know, homes become so important, and it's unfortunately it's out of reach for so many people right now.
It sure is. It sure is. It's unfortunate. You know, the valley's such a beautiful place. It's growing. We have ports of entry. We have a ship channel. We have space.
Best weather in the state.
We have the best weather. We have everything grows here,
right,
except a few things, right? But the valley is such a unique place, and there's so much room to grow. So, you know, we stand to gain from all of these important changes that are happening. So yeah, if you're out there, folks, and you are interested in getting involved, join our association, RGVBA.org. By joining our association, you also become a member of the Texas Association of Builders and the National Association of Builders. So it's a tri-membership, and there's a lot of benefits on all levels. So, Scott, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate everything you do over in Austin for us.
Look forward to you coming to see us in Austin soon.
Y'all be there, God willing. Anything you want to leave our viewers with today?
No, I keep doing what you're doing. Y'all been an important part of our federation for a long time. We very much value the Valley and everything you do, and so I urge your members to stay involved, get more involved, and don't hesitate to reach out to us on the state level if we can help.
Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks again.
Johnny. All right, absolutely.
All right, well, that does it, folks. Here with Scott Norman. Thank you to our sponsors for providing this video. If you're interested in joining and knowing more about our association, reach out to the rgvba.org. Ask for Johnny Vasquez, or you can call us 956-686-2932, and we'll get you signed up and get you going and get you all those great benefits. So next time, we'll see you then.